Hey everybody, it's Jimmy and Bill. Bill, what we're talking about today is like, it seems like, I'm doing a lot of $1 million home inspections, okay? And you're showing a lot of $1 million homes. And I was saying to myself, every time I go do an inspection, nobody lives there, okay?
Right.
So I was like, and it's becoming normal. A lot of homes, even $500,000 homes, $300,000 homes, there's a Supra, there's a lockbox. I have access, you have access. We go in there and we do our job. But why, and I say to myself, why are these $1 million homes vacant? So I do some research, like we do on all the videos. And there's some interesting reasons why they're vacant, okay? Yeah. And that's what we're talking about today. So why are $1 million homes, or pretty much any home, so many vacant homes in Florida, okay? And stay till the end, because the end one is kind of weird why they're empty. But we're going to be talking about it. So in the meantime, do me a favor, consider subscribing. Really helps out the channel. It's greatly appreciated. And let's get started. So obviously, the first thing that people are going to say is seasonal ownership.
Right.
Many luxury properties are owned by Snowbirds who use them during the winter months, leaving them vacant for the rest of the year.
Right, and that's very particular. It's Florida. Like that's a huge part of our population. I just look now because it's winter here, and it's real winter up north, not Florida winter, even. And everybody comes down to Florida because this is mild by most people's standards.
Yeah, and if you have to sell a home, say you live in Illinois, Chicago.
There's a season, and this is not it.
Yeah, but if you're going to sell a home and you need to sell a home, you're not going to sell the home you're living in. You're going to sell your Snowbird home.
Maybe, yeah.
Okay? So that's why they're empty. I mean, that's why. They're like, all right, I'm selling the home, they're empty. So investment properties. Okay, wealthy buyers often purchase these homes as an investment, holding them for property appreciation without intending to occupy them.
That happens, but I would say, I guess, I don't know, my thought would be, now, there's probably other places to put your money because of the property gains, but I would say it would be very, very dependent on where you purchased that home. So for instance, if you purchased in a community that was just kind of up and coming, where they just started building houses and they're in the $1 million and up range, you're getting in on the ground floor, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense, because in a couple of years, if you go in on, in phase one early, they're gonna obviously go up in price as the neighborhood gets filled out, and then you're gonna have a better return on your money in a shorter period of time.
Right. So, but basically during the unicorn years, it made sense. I would say you buy a home and then 6 months later, it's worth, freaking thousands of dollars more. But that doesn't make sense anymore.
No, I disagree with it. As long as it's still in if you're looking at a new community specifically, in a couple of years, you can probably turn a pretty decent profit. If you just look at, take the unicorn years away, but if you just look at how much houses have gone up in new communities, new construction stuff that we do all the time, how much they've gone up in 4 or 5 years when they close out that community. From the day they start breaking ground and you get in early, in 4 or 5 years, you probably are going to turn a profit. You have to evaluate the neighborhood, because a lot of those neighborhoods are in areas that don't have anything in them. They have to have people to build other infrastructure like malls, movie theaters, stores, restaurants, because they're not going to put a restaurant in a place that has no people. So they bring the people, then once the people are there, they start building the other stuff. That's where you get your best values for your money. And that's the kind of stuff that we see, around our area in the outlying areas.
All right, so that's a good reason why they're empty. Vacation homes and they're Airbnb them. So basically, people just using those houses for vacation when they come visit. The other times they're Airbnb. Yeah. That's why they're empty most of the time. I think Florida has the most Airbnbs in the whole country.
I don't know. I say I just don't know. I know we've changed some of the rules here, in the Tri-County, the Tampa Bay area with Airbnbs, because we became so prevalent. So they've restricted things to be more 30 days or more, with the exception of a few areas that are allowing for the very short term. So those are what we call midterm rentals.
All right, what about this one? And I don't believe on this one too. They're saying that a lot of these homes are empty because high maintenance costs. The cost to upkeep such pool maintenance,
What?
landscaping, security can deter full-time occupancy.
That makes no sense.
That makes
so
no
you're going
sense.
to hold the house
Yeah.
and then pay for all that stuff and not live in the house? That doesn't make sense.
All right, so some of these homes are empty because of hurricane risk. People fear of storm damage. Some people are so terrified of hurricanes that during hurricane season, they actually leave. You see that one?
Yeah, I saw it. I'm just trying to process it a little bit, I guess. So they're not northern snowbirding because they're leaving during the months where you would be here per se, sort of. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's an interesting concept, I guess.
Well, this one over here, I agree with. That's why a lot of these homes are empty, because I've been doing a lot of foreign ownership. Many properties are owned by international buyers who visit them infrequently.
Yeah, we do see that a lot.
I mean, look how many I'm doing just from people from India and all that stuff.
And you see that a lot just all over in the higher end homes. Business people who have money to spend or to hold, because they are an investment over here in the States.
Literally, I probably have 10 or 15 homes, and you can talk to Bill about this one, okay, that I did the inspections and a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and they still haven't moved in.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
They're just an investment maybe for a family member because they're getting in on the ground floor, depending on where you're coming from, so depending on where you're from, I know people who have purchased homes here in the States just to purchase the home in the States. They don't necessarily live here. They'll stay in it when they visit. They might rent it out, but generally they seem to not like the hassle because they don't want somebody wrecking up their stuff. And eventually they'll either sell it or they're going to give it to a family member that's coming over here for university.
Here's an interesting one. What about this one? Okay, some of these homes are empty because of property tax concerns. So non-residents pay higher property taxes in Florida, which is true.
Yeah.
But there's some states like New York or something that they have kind of the same system. So they actually save even more money on property taxes in New York by living there full time. So I think it's this, I forgot the name of the program there, but there's a program. If you guys are from New York, comment on the program. But if you leave a certain state and you're a full-time Florida resident, you lose the property tax advantages of your home state.
Well, that would make sense because you're not homesteading.
You're not homesteading, yeah. And the same thing here in Florida.
Same here.
Yeah, if you leave Florida and you have a house here, you're going to be paying more money because you're not homesteading.
Or even if you have two houses, you don't have to leave the state. You have to pick one. You only get one homestead. Only one house is your primary residence.
This one over here, I believe wholeheartedly in this one. Economic instability. Owners may be holding off selling due to uncertainty in the economy of the housing market. Some people think the housing market is going to go up, or right now they could have bought it during the unicorn years during COVID, and now they're like,
they can't.
And now they can't.
Yeah, because of the demand, so they had to use liquid assets, meaning cash, to basically win the bid for the house. So they somewhat overpaid. They didn't over mortgage, but they overpaid. So they have to hold a little bit longer to make sure that they get their money back out of the house when they sell.
Short-term rental restrictions. Local ordinance often restrict Airbnb, and that's happening.
Right.
So many people.
That's what we talked about.
Yeah, but people bought these houses to Airbnb, and then the rules changed on them.
Right, and that was a big thing. And I know I can't tell you how many people called me, and they all. I mean, it was a few years back. It was like every single day, and I'm having these conversations, and I deterred people from doing certain things. I said, really understand. At least if you're going to move forward, you can't blame me for not telling you that there's rules and they're changing. And that was right around the time that we just switched to the 30-day, like Pinellas County, the county as itself, is a minimum 30 days rental. You can't do anything shorter than that. And then there's exceptions like downtown Dunedin has a few areas that you can do short-term rentals, but the rest of the city, for example, because that's a big rental area, like right downtown, it's 30 days or more. And that's the people don't want it to be a hotel next to your house. in a residential area. And I understand that. They don't want somebody coming in and throwing parties every weekend.
Oh, I agree with that whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, other subjects, speculation. Some buyers purchase home intending to flip them for a profit, leaving them vacant during the ownership. Like a lot of corporations own a lot of these empty houses.
Right, and they'll put executives in them, or visitors and things like that.
I just did an inspection for a church. Like they own like 4 or 5 houses, and when they have visitors come in to visit, they put them in those houses.
Yep.
Otherwise, that's why we have the Home Watch program. Basically, we go and we check on these houses, like as a home inspector, we go there like, hey, could you go check on this house every week or every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, every month? It's called the Home Watch program.
Yep.
And we do those Home Watch programs because there's so many vacant, and they're actually buying 2 more houses, and they're going to be vacant till they have people who come to stay in them. So basically, it goes on. But I think the biggest thing, but I want to talk about this one last one, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Ghost neighborhoods. Entire developments sometimes cater to absentee owners, creating areas where few properties are actively lived in. Have you seen any of those?
I have. You beat me to the punch. I don't know of anything like that here in the Tampa Bay area.
Me neither. Do you guys, comment below, ghost neighborhoods?
I have never heard of that, nor seen that. What we have here more is neighborhoods making sure that they don't turn into renter neighborhoods.
I know, not the opposite.
Yeah.
Listen, the biggest thing is a lot of these homes are for sale that are empty is people, they have to move right away because of their jobs. So they move. It's not like you can flip a house like within 24 hours or 48 hours like you did before. So if you have to move for your job, you're actually moving everything else. The house is empty.
Right.
Or it's a second home. This is Florida. Everybody buys second homes here. For years, I had a home here that was empty, probably 9-10 months out of the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a thing, and kind of going back to where you were saying, like if you get relocated, some of these houses sit, and because I've helped some people sell some of those houses, and I've helped some people rent those houses out where they, and I've also helped people where their kids are coming in to college here. So they've purchased a home because purchasing a home is significantly less expensive in a specific area. So they've kind of got me set it up to where it's on a search, and I'm paying attention. So when the right property comes available that's close to the college, because we have University of South Florida here, which is a big school, and living on campus is extremely expensive in the dorms and stuff. And so they wanted to purchase a house, and then it's just sitting vacant right now. They renovated it and it's ready for their daughter to actually come in to go to college here.
Right.
But they bought it at the right time because we were looking for a specific piece of property. So they didn't care if it sat for 2 years, because they know they're gonna be able to turn a profit on it down the road too and turn it into a full-time rental. They just didn't want to renovate and then have, a tenant maybe mess things up. They just didn't want to deal with that.
Oh, I totally understand.
Not that renters do that, but
But that's the biggest reason is just people have second homes here. This is, if you want a second home, you're not going to say, hey, listen, I'm from New York, I want to buy a second home in New Jersey. I'm sure that happens, but most likely you want to go, because of the climate, you want to go someplace warm.
Right.
But that's today's video. Do me a favor, consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel. It's motivational. And watch this video over here. And you have anything to add?
Yep. We'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, and we'll speak to you soon. All right, bye.